March is over, and now it's time to close out this monthly budget, check on our goals, and see what our numbers look like. Hey Legacy Builders. So my goals for the month were to finish saving for my stock up, save $320 in the emergency fund, and avoid personal spending. So let's see how we did. This is my top 3 goals page, and I wanted to start putting money aside in my wallet for my personal spending, mostly for just like simple beauty things. And I was able to add $60 to my wallet, to my personal envelope, so I could go ahead and do that. And every time I hit a goal or reach a goal, I like to color in this little box so I can see that we got it. The second goal was to save $320 in the emergency fund, and we did that. And we used one of the challenges within my budget workbook. And the third challenge was to complete all the savings challenge for my Q2 stock up, and I did that. And I'm thankful that we were able to do the stock up before the end of March. And so we saved a total of $340 in cash, plus we had an $83 certificate from Costco, which helped us a great deal. So 3 out of 3 goals for the month of March. That was amazing. On top of being able to close out the monthly budget, I am going to review our expenses tracking from my operating account and also our bills account, which was brand new for us in the month of March because we used our tax refund to help us get ahead of our bills and also to get a little bit ahead of income, meaning we created a cushion in our operating account. So it took me a little while to make sure I categorized all of the inflow and income. So any money that came from savings, I tried to make sure I accounted for that because there were some expenses that were not planned for in the beginning of the month, and I had a few unbudgeted items that may be regular budget items going into April. I will have to come back at the end and adjust my total income because I missed a few items in that as inflow. The first bucket we're working on is giving/charity, and the tithe that we gave in the month of March was $449. And we also got a small gift of $65 for our baby's shoes because she just started walking, and we did need to get her 2 new pairs of shoes. So I went to DSW and I purchased 2 baby shoes for her. I thought it was just such a great experience, but I needed to include that in our giving section because the money was gifted to us, and then I spent out of that what I could to get 2 new shoes for her. So the money that I spent did not come from my operating account, which you normally see me budget from, but it came from a separate account, and that was $62.19 that was spent. And so I basically add the amount into our inflow and then what I spent under the giving category. So for giving, we came up with a total of $511.19. And then we're going to move on to our savings category. I thought we had saved more than what we did. So it was interesting to tally up everything and realize we didn't save as much as I thought we did. So the top focus for the month of March was to continue saving in our Save 400 challenge. We did start that challenge early in February, so we only needed to add $320 more, and we did that. And all of that money went directly to the emergency fund. And then my Fidelity IRA was not the only investments I had for the month. I also added $30 to Robinhood, but I just accounted just for Fidelity, but we invested $170 in total, so the number is correct, but 30 of that 170 did go directly to Robinhood for a total of $490 saved/invested for the month of March. And then bills. Now we had quite a bit of transfers to our mortgage account, which is the first bill that we allocate money to. And so we normally just put $475 aside each week because we're actually padding this. We're adding more to it so that 1, we can be ahead of this expense, and 2, we can kind of passively save for our future house. So we did put aside $1,900 for the mortgage. And then for car insurance, we overpaid this as well, trying to get ahead of it. So initially, between January and February, I was putting $125 a week. And then in March, I realized if we can get more ahead of this, it would help us because it's also a larger bill than compared to the other bills we have. So we put aside a total of $874.28, which was actually paid directly to Geico. And then we had our electricity bill, which was paid for $55. Spectrum came out at $93. That did increase in the month of March. Life insurance number 1 got $32.50. Our cell phone got $93. Life insurance number 2 got $35.88. And our credit card, we paid $172 to that. Car gas came under budget, surprisingly, and we were at $56.64. And for household, we were over budget. We spent $117.05, and that brought our total monthly bills and expenses to $3,429.62. So I think that some of the things that helped us in the month of March was, one, staying ahead of the mortgage expense, which is the rent. If you've been here before, it's just we're calling it a mortgage, prepping ourselves for that part of life as it comes. And then we did pay more towards credit card, and then we were doing a stock up for the household. So some of that stock up money I spent on the debit card, and then I just replaced it or refunded it with the cash. And then under the cash / miscellaneous bucket, we had a few new items, and they weren't going to fit here, so you're going to see me write more of our unbudgeted expenses at the bottom. But for my household binder, we did deposit $120 into that binder. For my financial goals binder, $45, and that's just savings challenges with specific purposes, right? I'm doing the savings challenges with a purpose. For March, it was to save for the stock up. In my wallet, I added $88. Some of that was for my personal spending, and some of it was for 2 of my sons' school trips. So we saved in cash basically $253. Now for food, which includes groceries, eating out, all of that, we spent a total of $891, right? I rounded that up a little bit for the month. And again, some of that was savings used. We would transfer money over into the operating account and then basically pay ourselves back for some grocery runs. For my unbudgeted expenses, 2 of my younger sons went to the barber, and that cost us $50. We had to buy Metro cards, and that was $70 in total. And then my 5-year-old needed new glasses, so we spent $105 for a total of $225 unbudgeted expenses. And again, when we needed the money, we had it. So these unbudgeted expenses came out more as inconveniences than a big emergency. So I added up all of the buckets, subtracting it from the income used or the inflow, because some of it was not income. Other it was just money flowing into the account from our previous savings buckets and whatnot. So when I did the tally and subtracted the inflow from savings, giving, bills, and cash and unbudgeted, did you see what the amount is? I was so sure that we had money left over and that all of my numbers were going to total the exact amount it should be. But now, girl, it didn't turn out that way. So we are definitely in the red, and not by $500. This is where I had to stop recording and go and check all of the accounts once again. And this is the part of the video where we're kind of going through all of the expenses throughout the entire month. So our starting balance in the operating account was $630.23. Okay. In the bills account, it was $1,013.63. So we need to start with that as far as what our budgeted income is. And so when you total those plus every deposit of income and inflow for the rest of the month, this is where I get my correct inflow total. As far as I know, because I spent a good 45 minutes reviewing everything, this is the correct number that we'll get at the end, so I can adjust the total inflow on my monthly budget worksheet. I need to watch the Budget Mom a little bit more because she talks a lot about this, and when she does her monthly budget closeouts, even the ones she did with Ryan, her assistant, they go into a little bit more detail, and that is helpful to see exactly how you should do the monthly budget closeout. So if you see here, our total is $6,539.05. That's the amount of total income / inflow, right? And then I subtract all of my total expenses from giving, savings, bills, cash, and unbudgeted. And so when we do that, you'll see where we are. We are not in the black, we are in the red, but not as much as we were initially. I thought, I was scared when I saw $500. I said, there's no way I lost $500 in the month of March. And it's a good thing I went back. And maybe, when I get some extra time, I'll go and check again to see, were we really short by $55? I must have missed something, some transfer somewhere that would reflect exactly how much we had left over, because this wasn't correct. So that 739 should include the ending balance in our operating account, right? Because that money is assigned there. And then also the ending balance in our bills account. It doesn't quite add up. So you'll see the ending balance in the operating account was $579.90. So when I subtract that from what I have left, we're in the hole by $55.90. So I just updated my monthly budget worksheet to reflect that we were in the red by $55.90. And let's see, if I can figure this out for April's budget. This is actually really fun for me, and it really is exciting because I get to see how to do this better, how to be better for the next month. So April's closeout should be much smoother, hopefully, and all of my numbers will make sense because we have an accurate number of how much we're starting with. But one of the things that happened near the end of March was that we had a slight emergency with the car. The car wasn't starting. It turned out to be the battery. We had to pay for the car to be towed, and which was fine. So we paid for the car, this company to come and tow the car, take us like not even 2 miles from where we were stranded to the Nissan repair place so they can, assess what's gone wrong, do a diagnostic, and then, we pay them for whatever repairs need to be made, replacing the battery. We got charged 3 times for one service from the, from this towing place that's supposed to be serviced by AAA. So that brought my account very, very low because they tried to charge me 3 times for the same service. So our starting balance for the month of April is our ending balance for March, but it's a little bit skewed because we're still waiting for them to release the pending charges. But at least now we have a better idea of how to track and close out a monthly budget. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my expense trackers for April's budget and write in the starting balances so we know exactly where we'll be starting from when it's time to start budgeting out the money in the funds for April. Now, the starting balance for the operating account is the $214.97, and hopefully, with a little bit of interest that we'll earn at the very beginning of April, and when they release the hold of those charges, those 2 additional charges from the towing place, we should have a little bit more to work with. But for right now, our balance forward is $214.97. And then also I wrote a balance starting for the bills account, which was $579.90. Again, not including any little bit of interest we may receive or we will receive by the start of April. But if you would like to see how April's budget turns out, then make sure to stay tuned. I'm sharing this because I'm getting so much better with managing my family's money, and my desire is to be a good steward, to steward the money that God has blessed us with to use, which is basically His money, in a righteous way, in a way that we get rid of debt, we save, we invest, and we take care of all of our family's needs, even if it's a smaller income. Right now, we believe that the income will grow and that we will do our best to mind our money and manage it well. So I hope that you continue to mind your money, manage it well, and as always, live your lives abundantly. Enjoy it, enjoy your family, and here's to a prosperous April. Let me know down below how March was for you. Did you hit any of your goals, and what was your biggest achievement? What was your biggest takeaway? Bye for now. This is a weekly check-in page where we were over budget by $49.87.